Corruption in the Adamawa region of Cameroon remains one of the most pervasive yet covert issues. Although the corrupt practices are often hidden beneath layers of bureaucracy and informal transactions, they are a stark reality that continues to define both the political and socio-economic landscape. In recent years, corruption has extended its tentacles and has become so ingrained in daily life that it is no longer viewed merely as a vice, but as a norm, a way of life.
When patients come to the hospital, in the various payment units, sometimes some of the personnel, they will take money. Sometimes as you are going to you are driving on the route, you can meet a policeman. He takes your documents. He discovers that the documents are not okay, and then you have to give him something. You have to give him tips. You go even to the market. There are stipulated prices of products given by the Minister of Trade. And when you go there, there are some people who will take more from you. People go and they stand on the lines, on the banks to take salaries. Some come from behind. They give something to people who are in charge of payment. And maybe they are number 10. They are brought to number 2, number 1, and all those things. So corruption is everywhere. Even in church, you will see that there are some people who want to have like sacraments in church. They are not eligible. Maybe their children are not reached the age that the church have authorized them to do certain things, and they are able to go from behind and corrupt those who are working together for the pastors or working with the priests, and then they are able to get them to do those things without really being a thing. And then you see something like one of the most way of corruption is in documentation. Like birth certificates are falsified.
When you go to ministries or delegations here and you want your file to move, of course, they are going to tell you that this file, that guy who is there needs something, whereas he is the one who needs it. But he's going to tell you that, this guy, this thing for it to move. And of course, you are in need of that service. You are in dire need of something. If you go to Treasury, for instance, where money has to pass, and you have a project, you want to execute this project, and the money is not coming out because you have delays. You see, it gives room. You have to give soya. You have to oil the mouth, as they have to say it.
In the selling of places and also marks, it's true. We have to say it. It's true. In schools, it exists, and people have to know that it exists, and we have to say stop to it.
Local names and expressions have even emerged within Gaundary to refer to the act of soliciting bribes. Phrases like "give my soya" or "we do how" are commonly used to camouflage the real nature of corrupt practices.
When someone begins to tell you, guy, how, I mean, it's no longer greetings. I mean, when he persists in saying it, he's actually asking you to do something, to think well. It means to perform, When we hear words like gombo is a French word for a fruit tree called okra in English, and it's a slimy kind of sauce. Now, you see, when somebody begins to talk of gombo, how, you begin to understand that he wants you to slide out of the normal tendencies and to do things. When you hear soya, for instance, that I need soya, he's telling you that beyond the meat that they sell, you need to do something. When you hear words like crash my back, I crash your back, that's in pidgin. Cameroon is a multilingual society. He's telling you to do something for what he has to do. Whereas when you have to render a service to somebody, especially in our public services, you don't expect something in return.
This subtle language is a reflection of how corruption has transformed into an accepted part of daily life. While these practices remain largely hidden, their impact is undeniably felt across the region, permeating political, economic, and social spheres.
Corruption destroys a nation. It destroys the economy of a nation. Why? Because in as much as people engage in these attitudes, especially public service people, the money doesn't go into the public coffers. The money is used for personal gains. And that is where corruption is bad. It's bad because the money which ought to go to revamp the economy finds itself in people's pockets.
The first consequence is on human development. When somebody goes to school and is not able to school very well, and he's given certificates that he cannot justify because he has bought, the consequence is obvious. If he's a medical doctor, he kills. He misguides because he misleads patients and give them treatment that are not for them.
Observers opine that combating corruption is not easy, but more anti-corruption campaigns can help citizens understand their rights and encourage them to report corrupt activities.
The government has done so many efforts in creating institutions. We have ANIF, we have CONAG, but these institutions don't have a legal instrument. They cannot sanction. They can only identify and bring it to the public. But these institutions need to be reinforced. They need to give them the ability to sanction.
The problem of corruption, to fight corruption in Cameroon, which I'm seeing that the government is beginning to do, is a problem of the salaries of civil servants. The salaries of civil servants are very mean. It is very difficult for a civil servant to meet up with his daily needs. There is a problem of morality, the values, the problem of the family. So we must be able to teach our children that success is not only measured in the amount of money you have, but in the dignity in your character. So we must, and then to the churches, they must keep on hammering hard on the virtues of honesty, of hard work, of obedience, of patriotism.
It is therefore clear that for lasting change to occur, the region must move beyond passive acceptance and towards a collective, active stand against corruption, restoring integrity and accountability to public life. Only through these efforts can the Adamawa region and Cameroon at large hope to break free from the chains of corruption and pave the way for a more equitable and prosperous future.